What's up, YouTube? Or Storm here. Today I've got something a little bit different for you Kappas. We're going to be actually doing a little bit of a Yu-Gi-Oh podcast. I'm sure you guys have seen, Yugimations type content. So everybody say hello, introduce yourselves.
What's up, guys? It's the AgentofPowerSun.
And AgentofPowerSun's actually one of the OG subs. Like, he's been subbed, I think, weren't you like the second or fourth sub? I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure I was the second sub.
Like, when it was like absolute garbage. Let's be real. And then,
is it now?
No, it's slightly less
shots
garbage.
fired.
And then who's next?
I'm Shaddoll Shane. My channel is more about like deck profiles, and I'll be getting to some small discussion videos within the coming weeks. So yeah.
Shane hasn't uploaded in a while, for the record, guys. So like, don't give him too much of a hard time. And then
I don't have proper equipment.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Am I up next then?
I'm underprivileged.
And lastly, I think it's Garra. So say hi, Garra.
I'm Team Garra. That's about it.
All right, so like the topics we're going to cover today in today's podcast are the whole DN NAS situation, how like the pictures have been removed. We're going to talk about like salty stories from like regionals or events, like whether it's at the local level or whatever. We're going to talk about janky deck ideas and when they actually work, and then the last topic is going to be like decks that represent us. So the first topic is the whole DN debacle. So I'm sure everyone here is aware of what's going on, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Roughly.
Yeah, so basically, like, what's going on is the DN, this group that represents Yu-Gi-Oh! Merchandising is basically, it's not the cards themselves, it's the images. So, like, basically,
they're like suing DN over it.
Yeah, so, like, the thing about not seeing the images is one of the cool things I really like about DN is how you can use both the OCG and the TCG artworks, right?
Yeah. And
that's one of the cool things about it. That's one of the things I really like about it. But I've used DN just because I'm wanting to prepare for tournaments. I don't know what else. Let's go, Agent. What do you think about it?
I think there's no reason to like freak out or worry about it. I think it's gonna blow over, and I mean honestly, they really don't have a case in my opinion. So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Garra, you basically on the same page there?
I'm gonna say that there's a case that what I think is gonna happen is either DN will have to take down all their pictures permanently. DN will still be running, but it won't be shut down. Like people are thinking, like everyone's gonna switch over to Dev Pro and the fall of Yu-Gi-Oh! I guess I think it's
no, that won't ever happen.
Just kind of a load of crap. It's DN, like, doesn't really matter.
Yeah, to be fair, like, I know that if you guys used Salvation last year, they are actually working on a browser-based software, so that's definitely...
I'd like to see if that's better than DN, honestly.
And I actually think that that's actually a really good thing that they're working on. What about you, Shane?
Honestly, there's three ways anyone can take this. One, you can have everyone else's mindset where it's like, oh, nothing's going to happen. DN's going to win because this is bullshit. Number two, you can believe in the rebranding or DN might end up having to close the doors for a little while they fix all the crap. Or if you're an extreme case, conspiracy theorist, whatever the crap you are, buy a big bag of rice, get in a bunker, and hide for the fall of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Cough, cough. Asian eyes, cough, cough.
Yeah, like, just to speak to that really quick, like, I actually, like, part of me is always concerned about the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, I will say that the attendance numbers at, like, regional events have been dropping as of late, and this is just in the Houston area. Like, Houston's not like a bedrock of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like Florida, some areas of Florida or California are, but
Florida, represent.
I will say that I have definitely noticed a lower attendance at regional events, and
well, at Vegas there wasn't that many people as they thought there would be.
Yeah, and that
Yeah.
I think honestly, like it really will concern. The only concern I'll have is like Nat's attendance starts to drop. That's really when the game's gonna like I'll really be concerned. But
That's why I joined Magic
yeah,
already.
I mean, it's not like I don't. I mean, I'm still gonna always play Yu-Gi-Oh regardless. But like, that really concerns me that the attendance is starting to drop. But all right, let's get to the
Well,
next topic, which is
That's why I was
salt.
looking at
you mind
Force
if I
of
say
Will
something
in
on
case
that real
Yu-Gi-Oh
quick?
starts
Oh
tanking.
yeah, oh yeah.
Well,
But like,
I mean,
go
you know,
ahead. Sorry.
sorry, well, I was just gonna say on that topic. I mean, numbers that happens. Look at Pokemon. Like numbers after this, I think they said the second generation numbers dropped off drastically. But
Yeah, but
there will be
Pokemon
people who
isn't
are
dead.
dedicated. Yeah, but I'm saying like there are people who are dedicated to this game, and they're not just gonna go anywhere unless Konami just literally stops producing Yu-Gi-Oh. You know?
Here's my final thing on the drop of numbers, and then we can move on to whatever topic Aura has next.
Yeah.
Everyone's seen, like, even on the APS community page, people saying they're going to take breaks because they don't like the format. Now,
Which is fine.
That's going to
If that
change
happens,
once Shining Victories and Dark Illusions come out, because all the people that quit that still sort of follow, the nostalgia players is the way I like to call them, they're going to come back and buy the decks. And then the attendance is going to depend on whether they like the decks or whether they think they suck. Me, I personally, I don't think they're going to be tier 1. I think they're going to be like tier 2 or tier 3.
Which is nothing wrong with that.
No, there'll be fun decks that have been revamped. That's all I care about.
Well, yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
that. And I think that's kind of, Yu-Gi-Oh kind of goes through this cycle. Like a lot of people don't like the format, but then the ban list kind of intervenes and people
Clash
come back. It
Rebellion.
happened with the Dragon Rulers. People quit and then they came back. So
Well, we'll find out in a few weeks. If
I'm
you
It
happy.
happened with Clash too. People got tired of seeing Necrons and Shaddolls and Burning Abyss. Pretty sure numbers dropped off then.
Yeah, but anyway, so the next topic is salty stories from regional events or like whatever. So like I think some of you guys probably might have heard this story before if I've told it. Like, but I was actually this was actually my second ever regional event. Like my first event, like I dropped after 7 matches because like my deck was like my Battle and Boxer deck wasn't horrid, but like I had some really odd tech choices. But the second event I went to, like I think at this point I was 1-1. I actually 2-1 managed with a janky bat. Like this was like an improved build, but this was like Duelist Alliance format, right? So I take my Battle and Boxer deck. I actually managed to 2-1 a Shaddoll player, and then I lost 2-0 to a Shaddoll player. So I go to round 3, and I'm playing against Counter Fairy Artifacts, which at the time like it was actually not a I actually wasn't a bad matchup because I was running Wiretap, right? And so what happened was we go into I lost game 1, win game 2. We go into game 3, and if you remember, a lot of people played against the deck at the time. I was maining Kaiser Coliseum. So game 3, I think
that's a really good tech. You just sit on
absolutely. So there you have
to keep Yugioh and it's just like, hey, come hit this.
Bujin, cough.
At the time though, like I was
Helmet, cough.
At the time though, everyone was running Dimensional Prison, so like Thought Ruler Archfiend just won me so many games at the time because people weren't running Mirror Force anymore; they were running D Prison. So we go into game 3, and I have Kaiser and Thought Ruler out, and I just keep poking over his monsters over and over again. I think he burned through his ignitions because and then he scoops up his cards and then gets really salty. He won't shake my hand. Like I always shake my opponent's hand, but he gets so salty and then says, "quote unquote," people shouldn't play decks that won't top. and
They'd be like, "Why are you playing?"
And I think the thing that made him so salty was that like the most expensive card in that entire deck was Abyss Dweller, and like he had like 3 Sanctums, which at the time was like a $40 card. So I think that was honestly where the saltiness came from, is he got beat by. But I'm not saying that deck
when he spent all his money stuff.
Yeah, like but my point, the basic point was that I found the whole context of him saying that funny, that he's playing a Counter Fairy's Artifacts.
Yeah.
But what about you, Agent? Do you have a funny story?
I have 2. One is about the other player getting salty, and one's about me. And so the first one is I was at locals and I was playing Fire Kings, and this dude was playing Galaxies.
Oh Lord!
So he tried to use.
I can see where this is going.
I can't remember. okay, so he had like a skill drain or whatever on the field, and I onslaught under it. And when I went to onslaught, I summoned my monster Garra, and then destroyed it. And then on his turn, I brought it back, and he was like, "No, you can't do that." And I was like, "Okay, read my card. Like, it activates in the grave. That doesn't have anything to do with skill drain. I know because I side that card." He was like, "No, you're wrong. You're bad. Blah 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 blah." So we called the judge over, and the problem with the locals I used to go to is we only had one judge for like 40 people, around 40 people. So it took him a minute to get over there. The whole time the guy's just talking junk. "Oh, you're bad. You're gonna lose. Blah 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 blah." And then the judge gets over there and he's like, he's telling me that I'm right. The dude's like, "Whatever." And so he tries to summon, what is it, Photon Pirate or whatever? Galaxy Pirate, Photon Pirate.
Yeah.
And he tried to attack over my Garnix. First of all, his monster didn't have enough attack anyway. I didn't tell him that. I just wanted to get it over with. So I activated Mirror Force. And he just got mad, scooped his cards, and walked off. He even finished the match. It was like game 2. He just walked off.
Mine was game 3, so like it's not even that bad.
Just like, come on, dude.
Come on,
He didn't
son.
even stay, so I was like, whatever. I get the win. I mean, whatever. And then with me, I was playing Scumbag Light Sworns. Yeah. It was Ruler Sworns to be even worse. Yeah, I was that
God.
scumbag.
Okay, I can see where this is going.
Like for the record, Dragon Sworns, that is one of the most consistent decks of that time. Like, it was so good. People and that was before Raiden even, and Raiden just made it that much better. Like, people forget like how good Dragon Sworns was.
Yeah, it was awful. But I was playing my friend, and he was using Chaos Dragons, and I made a deal with him. I was like, "All right, if I can beat you 3 times in a row, then I get your." I think I needed Eclipse Wyverns for the deck still, and at that point they were like $20. So I was like, "I'll get your Eclipse Wyverns." He was like, "Deal." I beat him twice in a row, and then he was like, "Well, how about this? Let me switch decks." He switched over to Cyber Dragons. And he OTK'd me on his first turn. I was so mad. I didn't talk to him for like 2 weeks. It was bad. But yeah, those are my 2 stories.
What about you, Garra?
Okay, so mine, it's not so much funny, but I was pretty salty. It was at YCS Vegas a few weeks back. So I was playing Despots. So I was going in with some jank. And so round 1, I 2-0 Mermails. Super happy.
Nice.
Going to round 2. I didn't go as round 2. And I'm going up against a Monarch player. But so as soon as the round starts, you have 3 minutes to get to your table. I went and I sat at the wrong table. And realized afterwards, oh crap, I'm at the wrong table. And so I hurried and ran over to my correct table. And I sat down and I was like, sorry, sat at the wrong table. And it could have been over the 3-minute mark. I didn't look. And apparently my opponent was looking, though. And so we played out. He was playing Monarchs, though, and being a douchebag, of course. And he beats me.
Monarchs so original.
He beats me game 1, but we almost go into time. Then he goes and says, "Good match," and I was like, "Wait, what are you talking about, there, guy? That's not the match. That's only game 1." And he's like, "No, you had a round 1 game loss for being 3 minutes late." And I'm like, "What are you talking about, dude?" I'm like, he's like, "Yeah, you were over 3 minutes late." And I grabbed this slip of paper and I go, "There's no game loss here." And he calls a judge over, and the judge is like, "Dude, I don't know if you're lying to me, to my opponent." And I knew, I could have been late. I told the judge that, and I was like, I sat at the wrong table and whatnot. And then the judge is like, "Do you have anyone that can confirm that he was late?" So he asked the guy sitting next to me. And the guy's like, "I don't know. He could have been late. It's a possibility." And so we were talking a little bit, and the judge asked me straight out, and I told him though, I was honest. I was like, I don't know. I could have been late. And so he's like, do you want to appeal with the head judge to argue this? And I was like, no, we're almost in time. I'll lose in time either way or get a draw. So I was super salty for the rest of the event because I got this loss.
Oh wow.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
Was he just like being like? It wasn't just that he was playing Monarchs. Like he was just being like.
No, yeah,
trashy
he was just
Yeah,
being
he was just a scumbag.
Yeah, and and part of it was I was kind of scumbaggy too. At one point, he tried to send 2 cards with Erebus to use its effect. Send the 2 cards from deck. He placed both cards on the table, and then tried to take one of them back and put it back in the deck. And I told him, I'm like, dude, no, you placed the cards down. And he was pretty salty after that.
It's a legal play.
Yeah, I was gonna call the judge over.
I mean, with me, like, I'm the type of person where even if it's like at a YCS, like I'll be a little bit more serious most of the time. Like I always allow people to take back their moves. It depends on what round it is in a regional, but like if it's early, I don't mind like letting them take back one move, but I'm not gonna
if it's at a regional,
keep, like,
I think it's
making
okay.
mistakes.
But at a YCS level event, it's like I came in here to win. Like I paid a lot of money to come here. You're not gonna cheat me. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
From my point of view, it's like I'm the type of person that's like you can okay, I'll let you take back a move, but only if the guy hasn't been a complete and total douche to me.
Absolutely.
Like
locals, I don't give a damn. But
for me, it's
just
attitude.
at a YCS.
Normally, it's just like okay, it's not a game-breaking move. Go ahead. It's not a game-breaking mistake.
All right, Shane, you got a salty story.
I've got 2. One is my opponent, or one was just a really funny thing when my first ever tournament, and the other one was a little later on, about a year after that. And this is both local level because I haven't been to regionals yet because yay, being poor.
I've been there. I sold review sheets in college, so don't feel bad.
Totally understand
in college during summer. Anyway, so first story. I was running a janky ass Constellar deck that was missing half the shit it needed. You can imagine how well I did. But no, it's like first.
You're talking like one house or something.
No, I had the 3 Cross and the 3 Pollux, but I was like, the main deck, I was running shit like Galaxy Wave. I was running Horn of Heaven instead of Darkhorn. Didn't even have a Mirror Force Magic Cylinder in there. And I was missing my Ptolemies. So I was running shit like Leviathan Dragon instead.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Continue.
So, first match, the Tower Knights. And so,
I fucking hate that deck.
Scoop moved on. Because I was like, you know what, I think my deck's pretty good. He's like, okay, let me play you. I played him right before the tournament, and so I was like, well, fuck. So then we get to round 1, it's the same guy, and I was like, son of a bitch. I'm not a saint with my language at all, so I apologize for that, guys.
Oh no, it's all right. Like my subs can handle a little bit of swearing.
I swear on my channel, so I don't care.
Try not to be like middle of the ocean sailor shanty cussing, whatever.
But continue. So did you actually win, or what happened?
No, I went 0-2 against the Tower Knights.
Yeah.
That's not where the salt really came in because I was like, okay, I can see that happening. 2-3 again, went against 2 Light Sworn players. 2-1 in both. Because Pleiades is great when your opponent summons Judgment.
Pleiades.
No, it's like when they pay to use their effect, I was like, nope, return.
Doesn't JD have to actually like stay on the field to resolve, unless I'm mistaken?
It has to be on the field in order for it to count in order for it to summon. And he kept trying to summon it back, and it was just like, no, I use Omega.
Oh wow.
Omega stops your destruction.
Yeah, and then
round four was where the salt came in for the opponent. I was playing against Shaddolls.
Oh, that Pallades against Shaddoll, that sounds fun.
I had my Hades. I had I had 2 Pleiades, and I had a Praesipe.
Which one is that? Remind me which one that is. Like, I'm not an expert.
Praesipe is the rank 4 that if a stellar monster attacks, you can detach, and that card gains 1,000 attack until the end of the battle phase.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh,
okay.
God. Seems fun.
So you're playing against. So you've got like 2 double Pallades, and Pallades is annoying enough to make anyone salty. Trust me, I know.
No, this is what happens. He El Shaddoll Fusion. I was like, okay, what do you go for? Winda. I was like, really? Didn't know what the fuck he did. Pleiades, come on. Okay, so I had 3 moves left with that. I had 3 Pleiades left. So now, this is all in the middle of game 2. He won one. Then he gets the regular Shaddoll Fusion somehow. I forget how. This is like 3 years ago. This is like literally the dawn of Shaddoll Shane.
This is like next challengers, yeah. So continue.
Now this was Durst Alliance still. So he tries to go for another Winda, or it was either that or it was the one that's. It's not Winda, it's not Construct, it's the other one. It has like
Shakanaga?
Shakanaga, yeah.
Yes. Yes, that one. So he tries to go for that. And I was like, no. I don't know why he didn't have Construct or didn't go for it, but when I look back. So he goes for Shanks, whatever. So I was like, no, Pleiades again.
Wait, isn't your name Shaddoll Shane? And you're...
You don't like Shaddolls? This is kind of funny.
I'm fine with Shaddolls, but I was going to name myself Samurai Shane because 6 Samurai is like my spirit animal. But Team Samurai is too close. So yeah, I Pleiades, bounce back, Janky or whatever. So he's like, okay, he does some plays, and it's like the last fusion card, and so he goes for Winda again. I let him, so I was like, okay, I let him swing, and then I used Praesipe's effect on the monster he's trying to attack. I was like, okay, my stuff gains 1,000, it swings over. He's like, nope, I've got something, I don't know what the fuck he used. I think he was using like an ego boost because this was like a random ass deck. So I was like, I saw I was about to lose one of my monsters, and so instead of wasting Omega, I was like, okay, Pleiades, bye bye. He got so fucking salty that I returned all his shit.
See, like, Pleiades is, like, I played a bunch against Constellars and Dark Worlds are 2 of the most popular decks when I was in college, so, like, I learned it, there were a couple cards I learned how to despise. It was Pleiades and Big Eye. I still hate Big Eye to this day. But, alright, next.
Big Eye.
Alright, yeah.
I wasn't done with my story.
Oh, yeah,
my
continue,
second.
sorry.
You're like, next, you're done.
No, let's continue. We got it, guys. Continue, sorry.
It's shirt, that's it. This is one that got me salty. This was about a year later. I picked up a Photon deck, not even like the Galaxy variant, like where more Galaxy stuff. The actual just pure Photon stuff, which is the worst of the 2 variants. But I was doing well. I felt good. I had my gold playset of Photon Dragon. I had my Dark Matter. I had my Primes. I didn't have Tachyon yet, but it was whatever. So I play against this guy, and it was against the deck that I played for a long time, which was the Solar Flare Burn.
Like,
I don't know what the fuck he did, but I won game 1, but then somehow he pretty much just like locks down everything I have and destroys me game 2. Then he just sets up his entire lock on his first turn, game 3, and I was so fucking salty. I went to shake his hand, or he went to shake my hand. I grabbed his hand, slammed it on the table, moved my stuff, and walked away.
I would have been.
And at the end of game 3, I literally screamed, "Fuck!"
I would have.
I was so salty. I almost got kicked out of the store for my language.
Yeah, I've never actually had been that salty.
I don't think
That
I
was the
have
one
either.
time
Yeah.
I've never been salty about Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't ever rage quit. I don't ever. But that was like the one time where it's just like I sat there and I was getting so fucking pissed.
Oh, wait.
What? Like, a funny thing is, like, I've never gotten like I don't ever get salty when I play Yu-Gi-Oh in real life, but it's always the trolley decks I run into on DevPro. Like, I remember like one of my Scoop Chronicles videos was like against her. I was playing.
Negate.
Yeah, I ran into a guy playing Raid Raptors, and I tried to go for Red Eye Spirit, and he tried to DD Crow me. In the video, I'm like, "Who the fuck made next DD Crow?" And I was just so pissed because the fact that someone would actually be main decking that card. But anyway, so let's go to the next topic, which is
Well,
Janky.
here. One more on the salt though. At Vegas, I mancoed a Draco Pal player and beat him in the match.
I was like, and people.
I mancoed him. He goes attack for a game, and I go no manco, and he was super damn salty.
See, like stuff like that, people like wonder why. Like, for example, like when I'm DDDs, when I'm playing them, like I'll instead of like just OTKing them, sometimes I'll just overextend and go for Meteor Burst just so I don't manco me or whatever.
Yeah.
Even though
Like the games, like when I was starting, I went on the dreaded unlimited section of DN with my Exodia deck that had the 3 Graceful Charity, the 3 Pot of Greed, 3 play sets of Exodia, and a shit ton of back row. I played 5 games. I won every single one. 3 out of 5 told me that I needed to go fuck my mother.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to tell the story about Manko because that's like the perfect salt.
Yeah, like I remember every time I play Satcham on stream, he always mankos me. I'm like, fuck. Like people wonder why I run Meteor Burst. Like
that's why I don't play Speedroids. That's why I don't play Speedroids. I like a relatively salt-free game, except for salt shaker card sleeves because those are bae.
But anyway,
on to the jank.
Oh yeah, so like janky decks that you built that were like bad in concept, but they actually worked when you finished them. So like a while ago, like I remember like I was always like when I first picked up Dark Worlds, like I just fell in love with the deck because I'd always been playing Battle and Boxers, and that deck like doesn't have any draw power whatsoever. So and I never had a hand. So when I first picked up Dark Worlds, I was just like, I have a hand, and it was a really fun deck.
What is a hand?
And it's like I was just so happy. And then I remember reading. I always like to do a lot of research on my deck. So I was reading about these Fabled cards. I was like, oh, maybe I could build a Fabled Dark World deck and make it work. But instead of just playing Raven, I decided to play Cruz, Kushano, and what was the other one? God, I'm trying to remember. It was Greenrow. And it's a very and the deck in concept is very inconsistent, but it really when it works, like it just spams the field with like crazy boards. Like we're talking like I can have like Star Eater, Felgrand, and a BLS on the field or something stupid like that. But to be fair, like it is a very janky deck. I would never take it to an event, but it's probably my favorite fun deck and something I'm always gonna be proud of making that deck, even though it's not good at all. All right, Agent, what's your janky build?
I got 2 again, but they're both Shaddolls. But the first one is Fire King Shaddolls, which you've seen me play Aura. And other than that one tag duel or YGO player stream, I've actually never lost with that deck. And its concept is basically just make Grista and beat over stuff. Like it's just basically beat over stuff with big cards. And you would think like it wouldn't work, but it does, and it works perfectly, and it's fun. And my other one is again Shaddolls, but I mixed it with Boojins.
I did that. I'm not gonna lie, I did that.
I did that as well at one point.
I love Boojins.
It was such a fun. It was actually the cool thing is like
I
how
still
you
hate
could
that
like
deck.
summon Yamato, but then you could like get your grave set. You could have like Construct, Yamato, and BLS. It was so fun.
Yeah.
I like that deck. But that's actually one of the Shaddoll variants that I actually saw a good amount of, and it works. Like it's not the best variant, but it worked when Construct was legal.
Engines themselves are not fast.
Bring back our Bay construct, please.
She could have been to 1. Just
Yeah, I honestly think construct will come back to 1. What about you, Garra?
Oh, for my story?
Yeah.
Or
Janky decks.
yeah. Okay, so my janky deck was a deck called Shit. That's the acronym for it. It was my hat 2.0. I was like, hey, I want to be like Corey McDuffie and like innovate this deck. And so what the deck was, it was Star Seraph, hands, then like the eye was instant fusion, then Trap Tricks.
Funny
And
enough,
this was before Norden was legal in the TCG too, like months before.
so awful.
like I've seen people play in sectors and like Shaddolls, and there's actually not. It works. Like it would work better like if Mathematician, Dragonfly, and Hornet weren't all at 1. But I mean, it
They
works.
could go to 2 and the deck would be fine.
Yeah, but like I'm just like
I've seen
videos within sectors and Shaddolls, and they actually do work together.
Well, I've seen. I would like to see Infernoids and Injectors work together.
But
Because
no, but
Infernoids and
that
Shaddoll.
shit deck though, its worst matchup was Infernoids, and that's what everybody at my locals was playing at the time. I could beat Necros, Shaddolls, Tellers, Burning Abyss. I couldn't beat Infernoids though.
Because of all the graveyard management, like all the annoying graveyard shit.
Yeah. Well, it's because I would spam the Trap Tricks engine and then just go off. And I also main deck 2 Kaiser Colosseums instead of the instant fusions. That deck was so much fun. And then I traded the Star Seraph engine off, and I was like, rip. Yeah, that's my jank.
I'm sure Shane probably has something. What about you?
I got a couple stories of jank. Because again, being the guardsman, you have to play trash, and make it look good.
Exactly.
So when I first got into like janky deck builds, I had about 2 or 3 myself, and then I've got one that my friend did that actually worked really well. So one I did was Ancient Geargus, which I loved Ancient Gears back when they were the shit, and even afterward, because I would sit there and OTK over heroic players and battling boxer players. Rip Anthony.
Right. I love that.
And I just because I could get first turn Ultimate Golem, and then freaking what is it called? Limiter removal.
That
Over
card
6.
That card should
It's
never come up to
17,600 attack.
But like,
And
the hell?
continue. Sorry.
And so it was like it could get over anything because it was a piercing. It could pierce. So I decided I traded my Ancient Gears off for I think it was a fucking idiotic Mermail deck. I like Mermails themselves, but it's just the build was stupid.
Like like we're talking like no Teos or some kind of stupid stupidity.
How about no Lind or lead?
Well, lead is like a one of, but like I wouldn't.
You don't need to play
Lind
Lind though.
You need to play Lind, and it had none.
Yeah, at the time. I mean, like now, like you could justify maybe only playing 2, but like and before Neptibus, Mermails had to play 3 Lind. Maybe not as much now, but.
And I had none.
Dumb.
So, and that Ancient Gear deck cost me money. So the main focus of it was, so you get your exes out, like you go for your Gear Gigant, using special summon cards, like say Gear, whatever. So you can go for your Gear Gigant next. Now, you detach, add an Ancient Gear, like, I would say just, since it's, I forget, is Gigant level 4 or lower? Or just
level
any
4 or lower only, yeah.
Okay, then I was adding Knight, or I was adding Ancient Gear, the actual Ancient Gear, or whatever. And It was fun because it had the pure raw power of ancient gears that I love, mixed with the technicalities of Geargus.
Oh.
And so it was cool.
Yeah, I actually ran into a guy on DN playing a deck like that, but like he had one of those like ridiculous descriptions, like you can only play old, like he had like only heroes or like old school hero or only heroes. So I hop in with like my masked hero deck, and he summons like Augur and makes Gear Gigant and passes turn. Then the minute he sees Shadow Mist, like he gets really salty and then says that's not even a part of the hero archetype or something stupid like that.
Yo, I remember that. That was on stream.
It was like I know it was like but
Fucking scumbag.
I know like there's just so many scummy players on like DN or whatever.
That's why I
Like,
play Dev Pro.
I mean,
That's why I played Yugioh.
Go ahead.
My other deck, I found a whole bunch. I used to love building the mixed decks because I had more success with those than any other deck I'd been running at the time because they had been like my brainchild. Like it's like my penis touched a whole bunch of cards and it made an awesome deck.
Yeah, like that
You
was
say
like
your penis?
it's like garbage.
It's
like,
my child. It's my child. It had to tap something.
Yeah, but anyway, the last topic is gonna be spirit decks, like decks like you picked up the time when you like okay like the first time you picked up a deck like it felt like right basically like and for me that deck was like I said previously was Dark Worlds. I talked about it earlier, but like Battle and Boxers is always gonna be like my first deck, but like Dark Worlds like when I first picked up the deck there was something really special about. I love the control. I loved that Grapha's just like a beast. Like I literally made a joke around Grapha saying Grapha never dies. He's just missing an action, and it's very true. Like Grapha never really dies, and
That's sad.
very true.
Bottomless, cough, cough.
Yeah, but at the time, like I was running Trance Archfiend, and like that was you could actually cycle it back with but then that deck just felt right the first time I picked it up. Like it was a really good deck, and I liked how it played. It had a fun play style, and it had control, which is something. Honestly, like everyone in my deck plays like has a control aspect, except for magicians, pretty much. And even on then that deck, I have Kieran's and Avion. So, but
Which you're
like
technically supposed to be running anyway. So
yeah, but like the point is like Dark Worlds was that deck where like it had a lot of draw power. It was pretty consistent at the time. Like this was like early April 2015 format where like, or this was like. This was like 20. I think this was after the rulers got hit. So this was like 2014, I think actually. And I really liked that format. It was fun. But anyway, what about you, Agent?
Oh, that's a hard question. Probably, like you said, like Fire Kings is probably my first deck, but the one I picked up and just felt right, I would have to say, is Agents, which is where I got the name for my channel from. Obvious, well.
Figures.
It's not obvious, but yeah, figures. And
so
I don't
Hyperion was
know,
your bitch.
just yeah. And so like I don't know, I went to my locals a good bit, and he still had the structure decks. I picked up 3, and I just started playing the deck over and over, and just that was the first deck I think I really just invested money in. Well, no, I invested a shit ton of money into Fire Kings, but that deck I was determined to make it the greatest deck ever, and it just felt so right being able to like demolish your opponent. That was the first time I ever like learned about OTKs, I think, as far as like learning my own OTK.
Yeah, because
was with Agents.
was this around like the time when the structure deck actually came out?
No,
This
that
was
would
much
have.
later. Because like I remember
Yeah.
the structure deck was actually meta. Like when it at that time, like structure decks could come out and they could become meta. Like that was like the
Yeah,
Chaos Dragon
because what
structure
that was
deck.
Machinima and stuff.
Well, now
Yeah.
it's like that now, too.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
gonna say, cough,
You're
cough,
all
monarchs, cough,
Yeah.
cough, odd eyes.
But like the thing with this is like, but the thing with that time was like structure. Like if you guys played during when the 6 Sam structure deck came out with Gateway, and like oh my god,
Mhm.
like, the regional after that,
That was
everyone was
awful.
That was
playing.
around Soul of Ragnarok
so
time, or
bad.
this was Warlords.
Yeah, it was so
Yeah.
like that. Like everyone and their mother. That there was like the structure deck came out, and then there was like a YCS the next day, and everyone in the top 32 basically was playing 6 spams. It's
Yeah.
like, and I do remember that though. What about you, Garra?
Okay, so I'm going to say it's like half and half. The first deck I ever picked up was Heroes, like not like Masked Heroes that people know now, like the old ass jank
Call me
Heroes,
Heroes.
back with like Avion and Burstinatrix and all those guys.
Ooh.
And that deck's always had a special connection with me because like the anime and all that jazz.
I mean, I didn't even watch GX, but I have a
Oh
strong
yeah,
attachment
I
to
loved
Heroes.
that. Yeah.
All you need to know is
And-
Jaden Yuki's flawless.
I think everybody had a strong attachment to Heroes though for that reason. And then the first time I ever saw this deck was on SEMO's the Yugituber Grand Championships. It was Yang Zing's, played by what's his face that won it. And as soon as I saw that deck, I thought I need to pick this deck up. I made that my goal for all last year to pick it up. And I bought Paths, but even though I knew they were getting reprinted in the tins, I bought them at 20 apiece. And that deck, ever since I've played, and it's always had just that aspect that I can spam, and you can't ever OTK me unless you can stop my summon. And then I just make my synchros extremely big, and you can't beat me. It's like that deck will always have the place.
I mean, I've always been one who's I like Yang. I mean, I like Yang Zings, but the reason they never fit my play style was that I just like to spam, and that's probably one of my greatest weaknesses as a player. Like, if you look at my decks, like Black Wings, is a perfect example of that. Like, I like Black Wings because they spam. That's literally the only. The deck is not if you don't open Whirlwind, you cry. But that's the reason I like. That's probably why I never really got into Yang.
You're gonna pick up the Raikiri, the Rain Shower, and all the new synchros and main deck monsters when they come out.
Oh yeah. I picked up a couple months ago. I picked up Raikiri and everything else. I mean, I don't pick up all the new monsters because I'm easy. I judge whether they're good or not, and most of the stuff is except for Raikiri is pretty bad. What about you, Shane?
Well, like I said, my first deck was Watts, and I'm currently trying to make them competitive again using that Watt lock list that Bradley showed me.
I saw a Watt player beat a Draco Pal player.
Funny. That's funny because in one of the first Team APS tournaments, we actually had a Watt Hunter player, and it was actually a really fun game to watch because he got all the lockdowns that happened with the Messenger apiece. It was.
God,
it was a really back and forth deck, but continue.
I hate mixing the hunters with Watts. It didn't look right. But anyway, so I'm constantly making that. My spirit animal was freaking 6 Samurai.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're all good. But I picked up the deck when I got mostly in my collection now. A friend of mine who was getting out of the game but was holding on to a zombie deck gave me his collection, which was over 1,000 cards. And I was like, I don't know what I did to deserve this, but thank you. He had a bunch of 6 Samurai stuff in there. So I was like, you know what? I don't know anything about these. Let me see if I can do anything with them. Figured out they could synchro. This is before I had any Kagemusha. I was running Squire, and it looked a lot like the GX version of 6 Samurai grew up a little bit.
Oh god.
But when I picked up the Stellars, that deck went on the back burner. And so I played Constellars for a while. I made them better, teched Galaxy Ice Photon Dragon in there, because why not? It actually works. It works.
Bad idea. But it has synergy, I would guess.
Yeah, because you can get stuff out with over 2,000 attack, easy enough. But the big thing was, so I was done with Constellars because this is I was tired of getting wrecked. And so a friend was so one of the guys there that was starting to help me get into the game was like, okay, dude, you need that. Constellars aren't going to get anywhere, dude. I was like, I know. What should I do? And he's like, well, do what you got. And so he pulled out one of my deck boxes. I had Proxies, Shiens and stuff in this horrible 6 Samurai deck. It ran stuff like straight flush in it too because it's so back row heavy. Yeah, exactly. I make stuff look good now, but I was not a very good garbage man back then. So I went so I was like, oh, what about these? I used to love these. And he's like, they're semi-competitive. This is before Necros got hit and right before the Rulers got hit.
What's all the
And so I pretty much
That was such a fun format.
Huh?
That was such a fun format right then.
It was. That was the best format to get into Yu-Gi-Oh! At.
what like the January 2015 last year?
Yeah, when Heroes came out. Like,
Yeah, I felt like personally like this is like a little bit of bias here, but I really like the post Dragon Ruler hit format because like you could I felt like at that time like I could have topped with Balan Boxers. Like the format was that balanced. Like if you had a
that's
couple
what started playing
That was my
competitively.
favorite format.
yeah, like as much as people hate on hat format, like right before hat format, like before like the artifacts were and everything, like it was actually really like probably I would argue it's the
Infinities,
most
like
Yeah, that
balanced.
Infernity format.
Yeah, like it was one of that format though, like that April 2014 format after the
I didn't
Fire
play
Fist
competitive right then.
but it was fun. I mean, because you had
Yeah, that's when I dusted off Fire Kings and was actually like doing pretty
somehow
good.
got way off track.
yeah, we got way off track. But anyways, Shane, so you're talking about a 6 Sam, so you updated your 6 Sams, right?
And so what ended up happening was like my friend's like, oh, I've got a lot of the stuff you need. He gave me my playset of upstarts. He gave me signals. He helped me finish up my monster lineup. I was running more of the 4 based instead of the rank 3 like C9 info. And so in about a month, I had the deck done. It's fast ever took me to finish a deck and get competitive. And so I was playing it, and I was like just enjoying myself. I was starting to win matches competitively. One of my worst matches at the time was freaking UAs because everyone and their mother played them. And now I'm sitting there playing them, but anyway, so it was like this. And so when I saw that Shien went, I ended up getting rid of the deck for something else. I forget what I went with, because it got to the point where I played him too much. Instead of having like my certain amount of decks, I switch in and out. Ended up getting the deck back once Shien went to 2. And so I played it some more. I did better. I was running double-edged sword technique now to keep going into my rank 5 plays, going into Shurya Beast, and going into Shien, which is about the dawn of Pendulum, roughly. And so it went. So I played. I did well. Got tired of the deck. I traded for someone again. Little did I know, Shien was going back up to 3.
Hey.
The deck became awesome. Rhoda went to 1.
And I feel your Rhoda to going to 1 is probably like the hits that like I wasn't salty because I kind of saw it coming, but that hit literally I'm not still salty about it, but I'm just sad. It's like I love that card. Like Rhoda gave so many good like and I understand why it's at 1. It's sort of like reasoning. Like Konami only bumped up reasoning to help Infernoids, and they only bumped Rhoda up to help Noble Knights. It's the same thing basically. But
Well, honestly, the Roto, I wish it'd come back to at least 2, because I'm trying to build the deck again, because J6 Sam's Scrub Squad for life.
yeah, but like with me with Balan Boxers, like in that build with 3 Rotas, I was running triple upstart, and it flowed really, especially once Nova Kaiser came out. Like it really started feeling right and flowing right. But like then when Rota went to 1, like my consistency went to shit.
Yeah, and so like that was the same thing with Sam's, because even though Shan was at 3 now, it's like, okay, but what are we going to do? Get her shit out? Because I mean, asceticism's a thing, but it sucks.
Exactly.
It's so situational.
It's like it can still the boxers can still go off. Like I can drop like Nova Kaiser like Yoke in 1 turn, but like it's just not nearly like Rhoda like really affected their consistency. Like I can run all the upstarts and chicken games I want. It's still not the same.
Yeah.
Really.
And like the most epic duel 6 Samurai had the most epic matchups was against X Sabers because they were in the exact same freaking corner as 6Ams were. They got horribly hit when Rhoda went to 1, and they couldn't necessarily keep up. Sorry, Paul, that's how it works. But
exactly. But
it's just that was some of the best stuff.
yeah, and like
But-
and this is the kind of thing like and the last little thing before we end the thing is something that's always kind of irked me is how like the Yu-Gi-Oh community, in order to have creative decks, you have to have some good generic cards. But the problem is those generic cards are what people always want to hit. Great example is mathematicians people weren't talking about mathematicians, they were talking about Rhoda. And like the problem is that the more Konami hits generic cards, the less creativity we can have in the game, right?
Everything else becomes cookie cutter.
Exactly.
And it's just
now I do think that net decking, and to an extent, encourages that creativity because it kind of creates a circle where net decking happens, people learn how to counter the net deck, and it just creates a cycle where people figure things out. But like with mathematicians, like one of my favorite creative combo cards, it helps so many of the deck side, like great examples like Red Dragon Archfiend. One of my first builds was running Tengu and Mathematician and Cobalt Hedgehog because you could
Frickin' Tengu.
Because you could put Cobalt in the grave, and then Mathematician was just a really good card, and I got sad when it got hit because that Red Dragon Archfiend was never a really consistent deck, but that Cobalt engine really helped, and it doesn't work.
Resonator engine, Synchrons, they really help make the deck.
Yeah, I thought about maybe building a Red Dragon Arch, but I feel like I want to play Red. I feel like I really want to play all the Resonator cards, but the problem with that deck is just not consistent. Even with that Red Wolf card that they're doing, but it's just not consistent. Sadly, I like the deck. I want to build the deck.
Synchrons got really consistent when the structure deck came out. I did not realize how great Jet Synchron and freaking all those things were until I picked up the deck again.
Yeah, it's good.
I love that deck.
That's about all we got for you YouTube guys today. So we're gonna do this podcast about maybe say once a month. Does that sound good, guys?
Sure.
Yeah. So
like a period.
So we'll be back again maybe sometime back in a period. We'll probably do this about maybe once a month. So tune in next time, guys. So anyway, guys, we're gonna go ahead and say goodbye, guys.
All right, see ya.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you guys in
Check
about
out
a
my
month.
channel later.